Hi, you are watching SightsInPlus and this is Romesh. Please to subscribe the channel for the HR news, for HR updates, and conversation with the top-notch CHROs, thought leaders, and business heads. Today we are going to dive deep top jobs that will thrive in future. And joining us, two seasoned HR leaders. Let me welcome Dr. Pradyumna Pandey, he is the chairman of ISAB Greater Noida, and Mr. Milind Mutallik, he is a former chief people officer at Accolite Digital. So, welcome both of you. And without beating around the bush directly, I would like to know that what are the top jobs that you think will thrive in future?
I think when we talk about the present and future of work environment or business scenario, definitely it is tech driven. We say that technology is a necessity, not an option. I think when we talk about future of jobs, somewhere it is guided by the way we are influenced by technology now. So purely outcome of technology, yes, the job which are, I will say that AI and ML specialist, cybersecurity becomes important for us because when if everything is driven by technology, somewhere this role becomes important, and these were going to stay. Your data analytics, data scientist is something, and definitely those cloud computing roles. So this is which is coming purely with technology. But there are also areas which are getting influenced by technology, not exactly that it's which are coming outcome of technology, but influenced by technology. Now, if I talk about marketing, digital marketing is one which will get more prominence in future. Even for when we talk about education, I think that chalk and lecture will be less of important. Important will be your edtech platforms. So if you are able to create those content for edtech, if you are the designer of those content, I think these are the jobs which will thrive in future. For online education. And there are areas which automatically by their own, not only technology, by their own virtue, they are getting in prominence. Like we talk about supply chain. It will remain in focus because you have a lot of things which is now dependent upon supply chain. Second, your legal and regulatory affairs. These are becoming more and more important. The way we are moving, the way the business environment is getting more and more critical. One area which I also look and definitely, which is healthcare. See, healthcare is something which is still, we feel that there is a very big gap between what we should have as a talent and what we have. In fact, I'm just disclosing it here that I am purely getting into something which is into paramedical staff training. So that is what, as an entrepreneur, as a person who has spent several years in HR, I am thinking whether I should put my efforts towards training into paramedical staff. So you can, when we talk about technology in medical, yes, you can prescribe medicine through AI for sure. Time will come, but the care and the trust, which is driven by the doctors, nurses, and the paramedical staff, will never go. They will take more important role in future because medical healthcare is going to be a big item for future India. If I talk about Indian scenario, because the focus upon medical is must. So I think this is a broad thing which comes in my mind, and that is where I say that this is something big is coming from my side too in healthcare.
I think beautifully you have categorized this into three categories. One that would be purely technological job. Second, that would be influenced with the technological job. And third, that will be with the human skills. So three categories, I think you have elaborated very beautifully. Mr. Milind, what is your take on this?
Yeah, first of all, thanks, Romesh, for inviting me here and having a great panel along with me. Somebody who is really known in the industry. Yeah. So my take on this is yes, as rightly pointed out, maybe majority of the points are being covered. But I have looked at it in this manner that technology is one which is going to be the base for the changes which are going to happen. But I see few of the areas where the changes still are being seen and will be enhanced further. One, obviously, technology, when we talked about data scientist, data warehouse specialist, DevOps, or for that matter, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, all this is necessarily being a part of our, so-called whatever data or whatever agenda you would like to drive for the business. Along with this, I see automation and digitization, where I'm going into little details of, if you look at robotic engineering, earlier used to be more of engineering part of it. Today, the robotics is coming into a lot of, with the AI and others, it is coming into a smaller form. So it's not remain engineering, it has become technology. So that's one of the skill which I see. Another thing is a blockchain, where, financial transactions were earlier focused majorly through blockchain. I would say rather crypto, but rest of the things would fall into that area. Then coming into AR, VR, augmented reality, virtual reality, all this, according to me, I put it in the block of consumption and consumer needs or focus, where digital marketing specialist would be required, e-commerce specialist would be required, social media manager. Because see, today your branding has become one of the most complex thing or challenging thing. So you need to have a social media manager who would able to take care of the things. Rightly pointed out by Sir, supply chain and logistic has become major aspect along with the e-commerce and rest of the things. Okay. And supply chain logistics, if you're able to have a very productive, efficient, uh, you know, technology and manpower, the person who is able to deliver the job, you are able to make that competitive edge. Okay. Health and wellness, I very much agree that there is a need, but I feel moreover, telemedicine also is coming up in a big way these days, because so-called the density of doctors, or for that matter, probably even the charges of doctor consultings are going up. So you need a solution in between somewhere, where you need to have the use and pay kind of services. And that being reason, probably a telemedicine specialist is something which is coming up as a big emerging thing. And very importantly, with so much of our complexities and a lot of other aspects of disruptions happening all over the globe, mental health professionals will be one more, according to me, would be very important. Okay, so I say technology, healthcare. I talked about consumption and consumer focus. Then typically automation, digitization. Along with that, one more thing I would like to add. Maybe today the focus could be less because of US is not focusing on to that, but environmental aspect and sustainability. Because that's where I think a lot of renewable energy, if you look at a lot of solar work is happening in India and rest of the world too, more towards businesses, more towards rest of the areas where we are able to generate the renewable energy. And the other thing which I would say is a environmental scientist who would able to look at the climate change and other things, because they would be more important for the agriculture purpose, or for that matter crop and other areas where we are able to take care of it. So title could be anything: data engineers, full stack developer, AI engineers, product managers. Along with this, one thing which will not go away would be the fundamental professionals like management consultant, investment bankers, chartered accountants, marketing, so-called geniuses, commercial pilots. All these jobs will still stay, and they would have more responsibility. So that's broadly my take on to a new jobs, new skills. Could be about 10, 15, which I just mentioned about. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant, brilliant. And I think telemedicine, that is definitely there's a lot of scope in telemedicine. Already we are talking about a lot of the sustainability for EHS, so we see a lot of scope here. Renewable energy already that is going fantastically, and a lot of still scope is there. A lot of people are needed, and that is a lot of training is needed for this. Recently, LinkedIn has also released a list of 15 skills. These are the fastest growing skills in India, you can say. So if I try to take the names of these 15 skills, so first is that is the AI literacy, second is the conflict mitigation, third is adaptability, fourth is the process optimization, and fifth is innovative thinking. Six is public speaking, then solution-based selling, then customer engagement and support, then stakeholder management, large language model and development and application, then budget and resource management, then go to market strategy. 13th is regulatory compliance. Next is growth strategy, and last it is risk assessment. So here is also the mix of kind of technological skills, some skills which are influenced with the technology and with the human skills, and some are purely with the human skills. This is the kind of skills which is this report is released by the LinkedIn. Any of your comment on this?
Romesh, the list is perfect, but it's so dynamic. The business, the situation or the scenario or the future is so dynamic that whatever, even if you think that what is my next job, possibly the job even don't exist today. So that is the dynamics of entire situation. It is so fast changing. So while we are discussing that these are the 15 jobs, but possibly there will be some jobs which will pop up, some new things which will pop up. We don't even know about it.
Mr. Milind, you also highlighted
Yeah.
a couple of jobs like automation and AI, and you have also highlighted a couple of that. What is going to be the transformative impact
So,
on the industry? How it is going to change the nature of jobs somehow? How do you see maybe the technological skills and also the some human skills? Where do you see the balance?
see, one very important thing, according to me, is uh, the scenario is going to be different vis-a-vis India and global scenario. See, globally, if you look at the demography which we have is more younger, okay, as compared to the world, Western countries, rather, if I compare. So we are need to learn, though there is going to be a lot of push onto automation, use of technology, but there needs to be a right synergy or a balance between two. And I think the efforts are more required from the human aspect to be a part of the job. And that being the reason when LinkedIn is listing this particular skills, they're talking about a lot of human skills like of emotional intelligence, creative thinking. How do you become a part? And rightly distinguished there in the list also, there are strategic roles, like sir has pointed out that who is going to take care of you. The technology will give you a feel of medicine, but there is a person required. When he pointed out at the time of trauma, what you need is a right counseling or consolation rather than only the medicine. So perspective comes in is, can technology completely take over the things for whatever we need in terms of solutioning? It is not. But what we need to prepare for the future jobs is more human aspect, of which we could have used it earlier or not used it. Example, nobody was expecting everybody to be emotionally intelligent or more than what it is. So, how do you do self-regulation? How do you have a social setup known to you? Because why this is required? Because the way I always have been quoting this three W's, your world of work, your world of so-called second W of workplace, and third W is work resources. All three have gone in a different dimension. So what do you need? How do you bring them together? You have your, different hybrid model of work has come in. So how do you bring in people together has become a skill which is required now. Team building is a skill required. Emotional intelligence is a skill required just to work, because your workplace has not remained same as it was X years back. Your work contents are going to change. You need to be very collaborative with the people. You need to learn that people skills, which earlier you used to just get the order, get the things done, and do it. Thirdly, what is important, why I'm again insistent on emotional intelligence, the age gap between the superior and subordinate has reduced, and competence of both of them could be at the same or could be higher at the junior and lower at the senior. How here you need to understand how do you really play well to see that you are able to, admire, work together, and still, able to give that output or solutioning which is required. So I think many dynamic factors are coming up, and as sir rightly pointed out, a future jobs probably we are preparing for all, by which we are able to fit in where the demand comes in. And that being the reason, human skills are going to have a huge importance. An engineer who used to write the codes earlier used to learn, has to learn, how creatively he's going to work, how he's going to collaborate, how he's going to synergize, how he's going to be a team player, or more over that. Because today you are not just so-called connected to your team at your office. It could be anywhere in the world. And
You
one
know,
of the practical example, let me tell you, one of the clients I've gone into, what they were saying, today my all folks who are working in implementation of our ERP, they are ERP system implementers, SAP. So what they were saying is all my clients were India clients. Today we have ventured into Europe and other areas, and we are finding a problems that, people are not able to deal with them well. Now, this is where the skill comes in. Is this a combination of technology and human, both required together? And more prominently, when the future challenges of technology going to take the major part of it, how do you fit in your human part of it into it with all these aspects? Yeah, that's my take on it.
I think very rightly pointed out, Milind, that yes, that more automation will reduce routine works for sure. But the human-centric roles, the empathy part, the strategy, the innovation, the leadership, that will rise parallelly for sure. Like you have a chatbot, but consider the role of coaches, teachers, counselors, they will rise. You talk about AI, it can suggest a treatment plan. But as I said, that doctor, nurses, they provide the trust and care. You can't expect AI to provide that trust and that empathy part, which is needed to get well soon. And as HR, I always see that algorithm, yes, they can do the resume, they can screen for me. But the man behind the resume is to be done by a person like me. The experience I have can better evaluate that what kind of people we need, what is their attitude, the attitude part, screening them on their attitude, their adaptability, their learnability. I think those things definitely need to be man behind it. But yes, it's a combination of both for sure.
I'm saying that you have also highlighted very important point that age factor that is diluting somewhere. We are connecting to basic question now, like when we're talking about the AI, when talking about the automation. New skills are coming, and so institutions play a very important role. Dr. Pradyumna also represent the institute. So I think you are the right person for the response on this. How these institutes and how the other platforms which are providing the upskilling, skilling, what is their role? How we can integrate them?
It's not only role of institution. It's, I think, more important is the industry academia interface, how it plays an important role. Because as institution, I need to understand that what is the expectation by the industry. But also as industry, I need to support those institutions to create those framework around what is needed. See, important today is to introduce experiential learning, whether we can provide them real world project. It's not only the bookish knowledge, it's more important that how they learn while they do. So focus on digital skills, whether we are creating those now, those EdTech platform coming in. So focus is now have to definitely move on those stackable certification courses, like I do this, I do this, I do this, and then finally I'm referred as an expert on something. So you have to get into those part where I'm saying it has to be project-based, learning has to be project-based. We need to encourage internships. That becomes very important, which we still feel that has not gained that much of seriousness in our country. When we talk about internship, it's like about ticking the box. I have done an internship. But do we have, as industry, as professionals, do we give that much of importance to all those things? See, even I say that even my professors in college, why don't they have a small stint in industry to understand that how industry works? If they don't know what is there, how can they teach? So these, I think, the new education policy which government has launched takes care of major things in this direction for sure. If we see that it's what it lays down for industry as well as academia, but required point is that we need to follow it. We need to take it seriously.
The new education policy, and the government is putting also a lot of effort for the skill development, internship programs. A lot of efforts are there from the government side as well. Mr. Milind, what is your take on this?
Yeah. See, rightly, I think sir is authority to talk about it. But let me say one or 2 points. One is, putting in the digital skills. Though I would say the young generation, Gen Z, would have the digital skills in them. But how do we really modulate to see that they become more business oriented or real life solutioning related? So the projects which are taken are more in terms of solving some problems. I would rather say idealistic situation is the industry should come back and give the projects to or problem statements to the institutes. I think the day we reach that, we talk about this industry and academia collaboration that would reach is point which is really required for the industry. Today, I know what we are talking about. Getting the internship becomes one of the big issue for many of the students, and I have been, being a bit on the academic board of some of the MBA colleges and others. I see that's one of the biggest problem, that if we encourage that, that would give them a skills of the real life. See, when there is a skill gap, and you have mentioned in your starting, Romesh, saying that there's a skill gap. So who is responsible for skill gap? Do you feel government will do it? The factors and stakeholders who are into it is academia and industry, and both of them really need to work onto it. So coming to future skills, I feel while we are doing a lot of work onto a technological side, I think a lot of personalized learning would be required, because if you find in the class there are different levels of people who are there, different backgrounds they come from. And I have seen a practical problem, even going to I would say, tier one institute of MBA, you see people come from a different backgrounds. And that being the reason, whatever you're delivering as a one thing which may not reach to all of them in the right way. Rightly we said, collaboration and other things, and emphasize now onto a lot of human centric skills which were not kind of taught earlier. I would say, in none of my MBA academics I would have had emotional intelligence or creative thinking being coming up. It has been made differently few days back as a liberal education. I think what is required is that being an integral part of, be it a technological graduation, undergrads, or for that matter MBA. That's what my feeling. So have both the flavors of technology, automation, along with the human side of it. And that, some years ago, Josh Bursin, who is doing a lot of research on HR, he made a mention the skills as a power skills rather than the soft skills, because that gives you a power to unleash over a period of your professional career. So that would be my take on it.
Absolutely. Soft skills are power skills now. So very right statement by Josh Person. So now we are moving to another part of this. Yeah, absolutely upskilling that is needed. But sometime now many organizations are under the hybrid work culture, and still a couple of organizations they visit to work from the home, work from the office. So based on these skills, and this is a continuous process. So change, there would be the skills will evolve, and this is also a continuous process like continuous learning. So how do you see the organizations can shift, how the organizations can evolve also in culture, and so that they can attract the better talent?
I think, Romesh, when the entire work ecosystem is technology driven, first thing which comes in my mind that leaders should accept that everything can be digitized now. So that mindset, if you have, even that discussion which were earlier happening on coffee table, can we have the collaborative platforms available in the organization where even working hybrid mode or remotely, they can be part of the team. That becomes very important. So we need to offer them flexible work models with clarity on expectations for sure. That second part, clarity on expectations, becomes important. That what is exactly, because now we have to rethink on our performance matrices. See, we have to move from that our work to impact delivered. We should not talk about having 70 hours, 90 hours in office now. Leaders are talking about it, but I still differ that we should talk about what outcome, what is the end result, how the employee is contributing towards overall organization goals. These are the questions we should be asking to them. We need to prioritize their well-being and inclusion for sure. This is the time when we should talk more about diversity at workplace, more diverse culture, more diverse talent in. I think that creates innovation and creativity in the organization. So prioritizing well-being, mental well-being becomes important. Invest on collaborative tools for sure. Virtual onboarding is a reality. How we are making it a better experience for them. On learning part, whether we are creating that, we are pushing in that micro learning even where we say digital mentorship, not necessarily I have to be one-to-one. Beyond that, I always talk about, can you build trust-based leadership in the organization? See, you're talking about talent, attracting fine, but retaining talent all depends upon how your leaders, the motivation in the organization is driven by leadership behavior. So you need to coach and mentor your leaders to make sure that they empower people, they trust people, they are comfortable if their best assumption or best way of working is challenged in the organization. These are the things which we need to inculcate. Technology is fine, but we need to coach and mentor our leaders to create that culture which can retain talent. Attracting talent, there are a lot many things now. We have digital media, but definitely when we want to go through digital or social media, you should have something in your hand to show to the world that this is what we are. So you need to put your efforts to create those process and systems, transparent process and systems, a discipline which is driven by transparent process system in the organization. I think that is must.
Absolutely. Unless they don't get the growth opportunities, they don't get the skill development, learning. So it is difficult to retain the employees. Mr. Milind, how do you
Yes.
see how can employees stay relevant connected to this point?
Sir, as already mentioned, it's a top-down process. The culture building is never bottoms up, it's a top-down process. And if you look at in the top-down process, the first who is need to really act and work on it is a leadership. Now, if leadership is really wanting people to be seen and doing the work, then this hybrid or talent strategy will not work. When you start rightly again pointed out outcome-based work, how many times we really have outcome-based work? The first thing which we've introduced in HR's, any of the HR system, is attendance system. And how many hours attendance, how much of a leave taken, how much have you not utilized? See, we have been structured differently. I think if I look at laws and regulations and other aspects, we've been structured to work, in a manner where you need to see each other's face. We are not being structured or having a process and system which would enable us. It was a forceful pandemic situation when we were working virtually, but we never learned out of it. We went reverse of it, saying that unless you do so many hours, you will not get promotion. Unless you do so many hours, your performance appraisal will not happen. Okay. I think we need to find, still this is the area where hybrid model really needs a lot of working from all the people. Organizations need to decide really, if I want to go on a talent strategy where I'm going to have people being trusted even if they work hybrid or from home, and they will not do 2 or 3 jobs by joining me, or I'm okay even if they do 2 3 jobs without impacting my outcome. But somewhere we are, and again, don't take me wrong, but I feel our mindset needs to be more than a possessiveness. It needs to be liberating mindset. Why the Western countries could do it? Because they believe that if somebody has been given responsibility, they will do it. And I have experienced myself in Germany, somebody who was working for 40 hours in 4 days of a week, he used to do extra work for 25 minutes of break, which he used to take for a coffee and smoking. How many times in India we can do that? So point comes in is, how do we build this whole, I wouldn't say only the organization responsible, overall, so-called the environment around it, be it a rules and regulation, be it, they will all help you once you have the decision saying that I want to have a strategic talent, and I'm not looking at the employee as 30 days, 22 days of billing and 8 hours of working or 9 hours of working and so many hours in a year. I think probably the concept right from bottom needs to change. The ecosystem has to change. And I'm sure the leaders on the top needs to push it hard to make it happen. So today also we are struggling. We see many top companies into IT services who are having big manpower are pushing people to come to office. So how do they really manage well? There are, they have their own issues like SEZ, and the number of people needs to be there inside SEZ, but we need to look at the whole of the ecosystem. That would be my, I would say, little bold comments, but that's what I felt.
Really, absolutely. So if I try to summarize this discussion and what are the takeaways? So hard skills are new hard currency right now. As you already said, this is power skill and AI, automation. These are the baselines. So none of the business you can operate without the AI and with the automation. So this is the baseline. So we need to upgrade our people. We need to upgrade ourselves for this. So thank you so much, Dr. Pradyumna and Mr. Milind for joining the conversation and sharing your wonderful thoughts. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ramesh.
Thanks.
Thank you. It was wonderful.
You.
Big-
Bye-bye.